Hello and welcome directly from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Gautam Roy. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. The Indian Navy is to get more powerful wings. The Modi government signs a deal with France for 26 Rafale marine fighter jets. India blocks 16 Pakistani YouTube channels, objects to the BBC terming the Pahalgam attackers as militants instead of terrorists. Vladimir Putin announces temporary ceasefire for public holidays from the 8th of May, while once again declaring Russia's readiness for peace talks without preconditions. And the Vatican says the conclave of cardinals to elect the new pope as the head of the Catholic Church will begin on the 7th of May. Sistine Chapel closed for public. First up, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, along with National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, met with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at his residence in New Delhi. The meeting comes 3 days after the all-party meet was held in Parliament premises on the Pahalgam terror attack, which was chaired by the Defence Minister. The meeting also comes a day after Chief of Defence Staff Anil Chauhan briefed the Defence Minister on the critical decisions made to counter Pakistan in the aftermath of the deadly Pahalgam terror attack in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, the Government of India and France have signed a 63,000 crore rupees intergovernmental agreement for the procurement of 26 Rafale marine combat aircraft in New Delhi. 22 single-seater and 4 twin-seater Rafale aircraft will be used by the Indian Navy. These include training, simulator, associated equipment, weapons and performance-based logistics. The deal also includes additional equipment for the existing Rafale fleet of the Indian Air Force. The IGA has been signed by Raksha Mantri, that is Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, and Minister of Armed Forces of France, Sébastien Lecornu. The signed copies of the agreement, Aircraft Package Supply Protocol and Weapons Package Supply Protocol were exchanged by Indian and French officials in the presence of Defence Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh. The 26 Rafale marine fighter jets are urgently required for deployment on Indian aircraft carriers, particularly INS Vikrant, which is now in service. They will be customized to meet Indian requirements and will be integrated into INS Vikrant. And let's get you more on this. We're joined by DD India's Amritpal Singh from our newsroom. Hi Amrit, what more can you tell us about this deal in terms of how it will add to India's naval and overall armed might?
Gautam, Indian Air Force is already operating Rafales, 36 Rafales. Now, given that the Indian armed forces have an experience of flying the Rafales, therefore their integration into the Indian military, though these are marine Rafales, but the only difference between a marine Rafale and a Rafale used by the Air Force is that these can land on aircraft carriers, in the Indian case INS Vikramaditya and INS Vikrant. So the Indian armed forces have an experience of using the Rafales, the weapon systems that fit on that, the sensors, the radars, the interoperability between the two forces therefore goes in synergy. So that is how they will add to the might, and also given the fact that our aircraft carrier right now needs marine multi-role fighters to increase your coverage area, especially in the Indian Ocean and the Bay of Bengal. So from that sense, it will add to the military might. Given the advanced sensors and radar systems that the Rafale has, that would significantly improve the technological prowess of the Indian flying capabilities, especially the marine capabilities, Gautam.
And Amrit, now during the last decade or so, India has also focused a lot on self-reliance in defence, with rising arms exports bearing testimony to the success of this drive. Now, how should one look at this government-to-government deal in that context?
I think it will boost the Atmanirbhar Bharat program of the government, especially in the defense sector, given that the deal signed today includes transfer of technology. And I'll tell you, in the transfer of technology, Gautam, the significant sections say that the production facilities for the Rafale fuselage, as well as maintenance, repair, and overall facilities for the aircraft engine, sensors, and the weapon systems in India. Now that means they will be produced or co-produced here in India. So that is going to give you generate thousands of jobs, especially in the MSME sector, and also involve private companies in it. So I think in that sense, it will boost your self-reliance and give a boost to the Atmanirbhar Bharat program.
And India is also working on a 6th-generation fighter because our neighbors seem to have acquired and perhaps even operationalized that technology.
That's right, Gautam. Given that you're working on these multi-role aircraft, especially, given what your neighbors are acquiring, and also given a significant part of it, or at least if not the frames or the engines, but the other significant parts, the weapon systems, the sensors, will be produced here in India, but also India indigenously is looking at developing the aircraft here. So that will obviously give a big boost to production in India, or Make in India program.
Thank you, Amritpal Singh, for joining us and talking about this fresh acquisition that is now the deal has been signed between India and France. Now, India boasts of 2 aircraft carriers, INS Vikramaditya and INS Vikrant. Both ships, each with a remarkable history and distinct capabilities, stand as symbols of India's growing maritime power. Let's take a closer look at these formidable air carriers and their roles in shaping the future of India's naval operations.
INS Vikramaditya is the modernized and refurbished version of the original Soviet-era Kiev-class aircraft carrier. Commissioned as INS Vikramaditya in November 2013, this formidable ship was previously known as the Russian Admiral Gorshkov before undergoing extensive upgrades. At 285 meters long and 60 meters wide, INS Vikramaditya is the largest ship in the Indian Navy. Capable of carrying over 1,600 personnel and more than 30 aircraft, including MiG-29K fighters, KMOV-31 AEW helicopters, Sea King and Chetak helicopters, this carrier offers a versatile and powerful arsenal. What makes it even more impressive is its ability to operate over 7,000 nautical miles, showcasing its extensive range. The MiG-29K, India's primary offensive maritime fighter, gives the Navy a significant strike capability, while the ship's advanced launch and recovery systems ensure smooth operations of high-performance aircraft. With 23 decks and a height of 60 meters, INS Vikramaditya truly resembles a floating city, capable of carrying 8,000 tons of low-sulfur, high-speed diesel, ensuring long-range operations. It is a testament to India's strategic naval strength, and its operations have been pivotal in enhancing India's maritime security. On the other hand, India has INS Vikrant, India's first indigenous aircraft carrier, commissioned on September 2, 2022, marking a historic milestone. Designed by the Indian Navy's Warship Design Bureau and built by Cochin Shipyard, INS Vikrant is the largest ship ever built in India's maritime history. Named in honor of India's first aircraft carrier, which played a crucial role in 1971 Indo-Pak War, INS Vikrant signifies the growing self-reliance in India's defense capabilities. It is equipped with cutting-edge indigenous technology, developed with contributions from Indian industrial giants and over 100 MSMEs, solidifying India's position as a leader in defense technology. The commissioning of INS Vikrant by Prime Minister Narendra Modi has become a symbol of India's indigenous potential, self-reliance and naval prowess. This state-of-the-art carrier adds to the Indian Navy's already powerful fleet, enhancing India's defense capabilities and strengthening its strategic influence in the Indian Ocean region. With this mighty ship, India has demonstrated its capacity to build advanced warships and aircraft carriers, solidifying its role as a dominant maritime force. INS Vikrant will play a crucial role in future naval operations, continuing India's legacy of strength, innovation, and global maritime leadership. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, after the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty, another crackdown by the Indian government on Pakistan, as the centre has banned several Pakistani YouTube channels following the Pahalgam terror attack. 16 Pakistani YouTube channels with a total of 63 million subscribers have been banned in India for spreading provocative and communally sensitive content in the aftermath of the Pahalgam terror attack. The YouTube channels have been banned as on the Union Home Ministry's recommendations. The banned platforms include YouTube channels of news outlets Dawn, Sama TV, ARY News, BOI News, Raftar, Geo News and Suno News. YouTube channels of journalists Irshad Bhatti, Asma Shirazi, Umar Chima and Muneeb Farooq have also been banned. Other handles that have been banned include the Pakistan Reference, Sama Sports, Uzair Cricket and Razi Nama. On the recommendations of the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Government of India has banned, like I mentioned, 16 Pakistani YouTube channels for disseminating provocative and communally sensitive content, false and misleading narratives and misinformation against India, its army and security agencies in the backdrop of the tragic Pahalgam terror incident in J&K. And India has also conveyed its strong sentiments to the BBC India and its head regarding its reporting on the Pahalgam terror attack. India's External Affairs Ministry conveyed the country's strong sentiments to BBC's India head Jackie Martin regarding their reporting on the terror attack. Formal letter has been written to the BBC on terming terrorists as militants in their news dispatches. A statement issued on the matter said that the MEA spokesperson will also be monitoring the BBC's reportage. A special one-day session of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly has been held on Monday. In the beginning of the session, members of the Legislative Assembly observed silence for the victims of the recent Pahalgam terrorist attack. The session was held to condemn the terror attack. During the session, the Assembly passed a resolution that condemned the 22nd April attack. J&K Chief Minister Omar Abdullah also expressed grief over the incident. Proceedings were adjourned sine die after the resolution was passed.
मेरे पास अल्फाज नहीं थे कि मैं क्या कह के उनके घर वालों से माफ़ी मांगूं। मेज़बान होते हुए मेरी जिम्मेदारी थी कि सही सलामत मैं इन्हें यहाँ से वापस भेजूं। नहीं भेज पाया। और माफ़ी मांगने के अल्फाज नहीं थे।
Dal Lake, the lifeline of Srinagar, is coming back to normalcy after the terrorist attack in Pahalgam. DD India's Vishal Baristo brings you this report.
I'm here at the Dal Lake in Srinagar and tourists have started pouring back here in Dal Lake to give a befitting reply to the disastrous terror attack and at Pahalgam. Let's talk to some of them and find out. I've got a youngster here. What's your name?
Vedant.
Vedant, where are you coming from?
I'm coming from Indore, MP.
Okay, so how long have you been here?
I've been here for 3 days.
And how has been the visit?
The visit has been amazing. It is a very good experience in Kashmir and the nature here is very beautiful.
ये बताइए कि कहाँ घूमे हैं और क्या उस अटैक के बाद कुछ आपको लग रहा है कि यहाँ के लोगों के बारे में क्या कहना है?
हम लोग डल लेक गए हैं। यहाँ के लोग बहुत अच्छे हैं, कोऑपरेटिव है, बहुत अच्छे हैं और उनका नेचर बहुत अच्छा है।
The hospitality is amazing.
Hospitality is amazing. What do you have to say about कश्मीर और उस अटैक के बाद क्या आपको कुछ घबराहट हो रही है या आप बिल्कुल सेफ महसूस कर रहे हैं?
बहुत सेफ्टी है और सब लोग बहुत कोऑपरेटिव है और सब लोग बहुत साथ देते हैं, सपोर्टिव है सब लोग।
कब तक रहेंगे आप?
हम लोग 30 तक है, 1 को हम लोग की वापस फ्लाइट रिटर्न।
Okay. So how? What do you have to say about Kashmir?
It is a very beautiful place and there are many places to visit and yes.
So what memories are you going to take back?
Like...
You love the place?
Yes, actually.
And would you like to come again?
Peaceful place and yes. I actually want to come again here.
में जाने वाले हैं। अभी हम लोग पहलगाम भी जाने वाले हैं। अभी मन में कोई डर नहीं है क्योंकि यहाँ के लोग बहुत कोऑपरेटिव हैं और बहुत अच्छे लोग हैं यहाँ के। आप आओ, अपना देश है, यहाँ पे अच्छे से रहो, बहुत अच्छा देश है। मतलब आप आराम से आ सकते हो। यहाँ की हवाई वाइब्स बहुत अच्छी है यहाँ की। आप आओगे तो पता ही नहीं लगेगा आपको कि यहाँ पे कुछ हुआ है, अटैक हुआ है। यहाँ पे कुछ है ही नहीं, बिल्कुल भी कुछ भी नहीं है। बहुत अच्छा है यहाँ पे।
So there you hear from these tourists. They are from Indore, from the central Indian state of Madhya Pradesh, and they are all enjoying. They have all praises for the local Kashmiris, about their hospitality, about the natural beauty, and they are all enjoying. They don't feel unsafe, and they also plan to go to Pahalgam. So this is the message for you sitting across the border, that India and Indians will not be cowed down. The love and bonding between people will always be there. With cameraman Mohit Uike in Srinagar, this is Vishal Baristo for TD India.
Moving on, now a Delhi court on Monday reserved its order on National Investigation Agency's plea seeking custody of 26/11 Mumbai terror attack mastermind Tahir Hussain Rana for 12 more days. In fact, 12 more days of custody has been granted now to the NIA. Earlier, Rana had been in custody of the NIA for 18 days. Rana was brought to India from the US on the 10th of April by a special plane and was produced before the bench of Special NIA Judge Chandrajit Singh. The terrorist was involved in the conspiracy behind the 2008 terrorist attacks in Mumbai. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri and Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta distributed Aishman Bharat cards to senior citizens aged above 70 and above under the Pradhan Mantri Vay Vandana Yojana. This initiative aims to provide significant healthcare benefits to the elderly. The scheme offers a total health cover of up to 10 lakh Indian rupees, which includes 5 lakh Indian rupees coverage under the Aishman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. And an additional 5 lakh Indian rupees of health insurance coverage will be provided by the Delhi government. Eligible senior citizens will be able to avail free treatment at hospitals registered under the Aishman Bharat PMJ scheme, ensuring access to quality healthcare services.
हर एक व्यक्ति जो 70 साल से ऊपर की उम्र का है, उसको इसका लाभ मिलेगा। ये इस योजना की खूबसूरती है। केवल 2 चीजें चाहिए। एक, आप दिल्ली के निवासी हो, और दूसरा, आपके पास आधार कार्ड हो, और आपका रजिस्ट्रेशन आज से दिल्ली में शुरू हो गया है।
Aishman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, that was launched on the 23rd of September 2018, has been a game changer in healthcare, mainly for the millions of poor and vulnerable families across the country. The flagship scheme of the government is the largest health assurance scheme in the world, which aims to provide a health cover of 5 lakh Indian rupees per family per year for secondary and tertiary care, hospitalization to over 12 crore, that's 120 million poor and vulnerable families. PMJ is fully funded by the government, and the cost of implementation is shared between the central and state governments. More than 400 million Aishman cards have been created so far. More than 80 million authorized hospital admissions and more than 31,000 hospitals have been impaneled. The scheme provides cashless access to healthcare services for the beneficiaries at the point of service, that is at the hospital. It covers up to 3 days of pre-hospitalization and 15 days post-hospitalization expenses. Services include approximately 1,929 procedures covering all the costs related to the treatment. Benefit cover under PMJ includes pre-hospitalization, like I mentioned, diagnostic and laboratory investigations, medicine and medical consumables, accommodation benefits and more. India's industrial sector continues its steady ascent as the index of industrial production recorded a 3% growth in March 2025. The IIP, a crucial indicator of industrial health, stands at 164.8. The growth was driven by notable contributions from the manufacturing and electricity sectors, registering 3% and 6.3% growth. Key players in the manufacturing industry, such as basic metals, motor vehicles and electrical equipment, showcased robust performances. Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered a 3-day ceasefire from the 8th to the 11th of May, coinciding with Moscow's World War II Victory Day commemorations. The Kremlin on Monday said that Russia believes that Ukraine inside should follow it as an example. The Kremlin added that in the event of violations of the truce by the Ukraine inside, the Russian armed forces will give an adequate and effective response. Now, Canadian voters are casting their ballots today after months of uncertainty influenced by US President Donald Trump's unpredictable global tariff policies and the bid to, or at least the announcement of a bid to acquire Canada. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney called for the 28th of April election in March, shortly after replacing former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Voters choose their local representative to the House of Commons, but the ballot will not include a direct vote for Prime Minister. Mark Carney and Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre campaigned across the country on Sunday and final day of a 5-week campaign, making their pitches to voters. Carney met with supporters in Saskatchewan after making a case a day earlier in Ontario that he is the best placed to steer Canada through a crisis triggered by Trump's tariffs. Poilievre has promised reduced spending on foreign aid and axed a federal sales tax on Canada-made autos as long as US tariffs are in place. But are voters convinced by the promises made to them? And what are their hopes, frustrations and expectations from the next leader? Well, to talk about it, let's go across to Tarun Paul from Canada. Hi Tarun, what's the mood on the ground and the main issues in these elections?
Right now, the mood is a little bit of the hope and frustration. People are getting a little engaged that, okay, that political parties are getting involved, but still they are afraid that their promises which has been made will not be fulfilled. Affordability still remains a top concern along with housing, healthcare and everything. They want that the politicians should take care of these stuffs and should focus on these stuffs more as compared to US and other topics.
And then do voters trust the promises and what are their expectations?
There are hope and skepticism right now going on. People are afraid that the promises which has been made right now not be fulfilled after an election. They want that the politicians should take care of these stuffs and plus take care of the housing, healthcare, affordability and all the promises should be fulfilled after election also. While talking with the community people, the expectations are very high. They want that the new leader should take care of all the commitments which has been made.
Tarun Paul on the Canadian elections. Now, a date has been set for one of the most significant events in the global church, the election of a new pope. In a historic decision, the Roman Catholic cardinals will gather behind closed doors in a secret conclave starting the 7th of next month to choose the next leader of the Vatican. The announcement comes from Vatican following the first official meeting of the cardinals since the solemn farewell of Pope Francis on Saturday. Some 135 cardinals, all under the age of 80 and representing diverse corners of the world, will cast their votes to determine who will lead the Catholic Church into its next chapter. And that's all we have for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. You can scan the QR code on the screen and download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy, and from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.